Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Burke Brigade. Today is Wednesday, August 9th. I'm Matthew Burke, here with the lovely Mrs. Jennifer Burke.
And yes, here's Jennifer Burke.
This is episode 5 of the Burke Brigade, brought to you by thelibertydaily.com. Thelibertydaily.com, your drudge alternative. Okay, let's hop right in here. So this is hot off the press tonight, and I wrote about this on thepolitistic.com if you want to check it out. But the fired Google employee, James Damore, he was a programmer at Google. He described himself as a fanboy. I mean, he was like a Google evangelist. He said that, you know, he would never ever buy an iPhone. He would convince all of his friends that didn't work at the company to buy Androids, etc., etc. He gave an interview to Jordan B. Peterson, who's a professor, YouTube star. He was the guy that 5 days ago YouTube shut down his YouTube page because he was talking about a topic of Christianity that apparently the left thought was politically incorrect or something. Really shameful. But anyway, this James Damore is the gentleman who wrote the epic 11-page intra-company memo that was leaked to the press. And, you know, he was fired because he exposed Google's politically correct extremism, pointing out the obvious science, the obvious biology that men are different than women overall, and perhaps some of the reason why Google and other tech companies are having a hard time attracting, you know, an exact 50-50 split, male-female, in the world of programming and high tech may be attributed to some of those biological differences. Doesn't sound that controversial to me. Like we talked about last night on the Burke Brigade, there are many female-dominated fields.
Which the left has no problem with.
Which there's no problem. You know.
I mean, go into a school and unless you get up... Sorry, guys. That's our 3 helpers there.
Yeah.
Barking at every little noise. Unless you go into a high school, the vast majority of teachers at elementary schools and junior highs, but especially elementary schools, are women. Vast majority. It is a rarity to have a man in that role.
Right. And last night, we read off a bunch of these with the percentages, not to belabor the point, but there are several female-dominated professions, and the progressive, politically correct, cultural Marxists in our society have absolutely no problem with them. But anyway, in this interview tonight, and again, you can get this at thepolitistic.com, Damore, he explains that this memo was actually out there for over a month and a half. And he went, or it was over a month. And he says here, I went a month and a half ago to one of our diversity summits. All of it unrecorded and super secret. Ray, quiet. Quiet, Ray. Isn't it cool to have a dog named Ray? He's a corgi. We got 3 dogs. So all of it unrecorded and super secret. And they told me a lot of things that I thought were just not right, he revealed. And then Dr. Peterson asked him, what do you mean unrecorded and super secret? And so Damore explained, they were telling us a lot of these potentially illegal practices that they've been doing to try to increase diversity. What kind of practices? Peterson asked. Well, basically treating people differently based on their race or gender. Based on what their race or gender are. He explains, oh, you mean racism? Peterson jumped in. Yeah, basically, Damore agreed. So the more he explained that most of the meetings at Google, in order to foster an open environment, these meetings, regular meetings at Google, are recorded so that anyone can come in and watch. He said, quote, trying to be really open about everything except this, the diversity meetings. They don't want any paper trail of any of these. So then Peterson asked why. And he answered, because I think it's illegal. And I'm quoting here, because I think it's illegal. I mean, as some of the internal polls showed, there were a large % of people that agreed with me on the document. And so if everyone got to see this stuff, then it would really bring up some criticism. So that is just a blockbuster bombshell story, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And you notice that they wanted to increase diversity according to gender and skin color, but not diversity of thought. Conservatives need not apply. This guy is a liberal, but he's obviously disturbed by the path that liberals are taking and wanting to stifle thought that they do not agree with. I mean, we've seen it with the Google attacks, the Facebook attacks, the YouTube attacks on conservative sites. I mean, some places having their sites taken down, their YouTube pages taken down with no cause or no explanation. And if they do get an explanation, it's some vague hate speech, because liberals are the ones who can determine what hate speech is. Period.
Or the even more vague, you violated the terms of our agreement,
community standards, or whatever.
Our community standards. It's like that. Reminds me of that old phrase. Liberals are so open-minded their brains fell out. I mean, this is just classic. So this guy writes this memo saying that, these are my words, not his, but basically Google has turned into a thought police. That they're so tolerant that they've become intolerant. And so you can't challenge their progressive leftist commie pinko ideology, or else here's what happens, or you'll get punished.
Right, and basically
that's what happened.
They proved him right. Good job, Google. They proved him right. You proved that what he said about your intolerance to be true. And what did he say? That the reason he wasn't fired because of performance issues or anything, because...
No, he said he got the highest mark. You'll see this if you watch this video. He got the highest mark that you can get on his latest performance review. I believe he said the top 3%. Only the top 3%, might have been 8%. But the upper echelon gets this.
He was fired because they said he was perpetuating gender stereotypes. So, the left, who wants to... claim to be the party of science, because they believe, even though it is not settled science, they say there is man-made climate change and we need to do something about it. It's all controlist in nature. But when it comes to gender, gender's fluid now. Gender is a social construct. There is no such thing as boys and girls. We even have some insane leftists wanting to let their children... I don't want a gender on my child's birth certificate. I will let them decide. You know what? You know how they'll decide? Look between their legs and see what they see.
Yeah.
And if they see something, they're a boy. And if they don't, they're a girl. But, Google proved him to be correct. They are intolerant. The left is the exact opposite of what they claim to be. They claim to be the party of tolerance. They are not. They claim to be the party of love. They're not. They're the party of hate. They claim to be the party of open-mindedness. They're not. They're the party of closed-mindedness. They claim
MLK said, let's judge people by the content of their character instead of the color of their skin. That has been completely
obliterated.
Let me just use the term whitewashed. Now you judge people entirely not based on their qualifications, not based on their work ethic, not based on their talent, but based on the color of their skin or what gender they think they are on any given day.
Now, and then I know you wanted to talk about this later, but that completely segues. Honors classes decided by skin color and not intelligence. Now, in case you don't remember, there are AP classes are advanced placement. If you take an AP class in high school, it is actually a college level class, which means it is a lot more rigorous than even what they're doing in high school. If you're in an honors class, that means you had to have, it's not some willy-nilly thing, anybody can take an honors class. No, because the work is a lot more rigorous. You have to be able to hold your own. You have to be able to do the work. You have to have shown your general ed classroom teacher that this particular curriculum isn't challenging enough for you and you need something more challenging. So the left, as they claim to be the party of, who loves black people, what they actually operate on is a soft bigotry of low expectations. That's what they do. They don't expect as much from black people. They don't expect as much from brown people, and they don't expect as much from women. Yet they'll go around and claim that these people are victimized, are victim class. So this Virginia high school sent a disturbing letter to parents and students announcing they'll be selecting their AP and honors classes based on skin color instead of intelligence. So listen to what they said and then listen to their claim that that's not what they're doing. Through our collective, keyword for communism, work, advanced classes such as AP and honors will have proportional representation. Proportional representation is 40% white, 35% Hispanic, 12% African American, 10% mixed race. It said that they don't want to continue to see outcomes that are disproportionate by race and social class. The American demographic trends indicate that America will be a majority-minority nation in 25 years. Therefore, the new work of American public schools is to develop systems to address disparate outcomes. And then they went on to claim that, no, we're not doing, word escapes me, that they're not doing quotas. And exactly, our school division does not have nor ever had any policy that utilizes race for enrollment in honors or AP courses. Students, regardless of race, must reach academic criteria to enroll in advanced level coursework. Well, parents actually received the letter saying exactly the opposite of what the school district's spokesperson is trying to spin. I have an idea for you, Virginia school, and I did not see the exact name given, but John Handley High School in Winchester. John Handley High School in Winchester, Virginia.
Handley High School in Winchester.
I have a suggestion for you. Why don't you just educate the kids? Why don't school districts around the country just educate the kids? The left has been in control of education for decades. And so if they want to put the blame of on anybody for black students or brown students or women not making it up into at the AP or honors classes enough, then look at what's going on in those schools. Look at how kids are being educated. Look at behavior that's being accepted. Look at poor performance that's being accepted. Look at excuses that are being made, and stop just saying, oh, there, you poor little black boy. You didn't make a good enough grade. And I'm black. I just want to say that for the record. Have been my own whole life, unlike Rachel Dolezal, the fake black NAACP former president in Spokane, Washington. They pat these black kids on the head and then want to patronize them instead of having expectations. Oh, you can't reach that mark? That's okay. We'll lower the mark just for you because you can't do it. Way to go, you bigots on the left.
Yeah, there's so much discrimination that Rachel Dolezal volunteered to be fundamentally transformed into a black person, so she could be discriminated against.
Not only so
not that she got any special favors or anything.
You know, not only so she could be discriminated against, she actually made up stories of how she was discriminated against and how she was attacked because of race.
Of course.
You know, but that's okay. She self-identifies.
She's milking it.
She self-identifies as black, and that's okay. But you have someone like Kim Kardashian, who I'm not a fan of, wear cornrows in her hair, and she's attacked
somehow
for
cultural appropriation.
For cultural appropriation.
Freaking insanity.
This is how messed up our world is.
Speaking of insanity, leftist lunatic Ashley Judd of Hollyweird fame, she got emotionally triggered. Boy, did she! At an airport employee who allegedly called her sweetheart.
Oh my goodness!
Oh, you know the suffering. The suffering this woman went to. You know, which is a term of endearment, right? But nowadays is considered somehow offensive or sexist by the politically correct cultural Marxist cabal, the anti-free speech left. So she was so triggered, so angered by the word being called sweetheart by an airline employee that she recorded her first Facebook Live video. And let me tell you, it ain't pretty.
And the world is more stupid because of it.
And this thing got 1.3 million views after her, horrific incident occurred. As whatever it was, a public service to her idiotic followers or something. And, by the way, we've gone shopping before. I've gone shopping before. Had a grocery clerk, usually a lady, a little bit up there in years or whatever. Maybe someone who's from the South. Call me honey or darling. I think it's cute. I think it's sweet.
Yeah, it's something.
I think it's kind.
I was in the store one day, and the
uplifting.
clerk said,
I feel good. It's like, wow, that was nice.
Hey, sweet cakes, how are you doing today? I didn't say, oh my God, how dare you? First of all, how do you know that I identify as a woman? I didn't say all that. I said, oh, I'm great today. How are you? Get over yourself, Ashley Judd. Didn't she try to run for Congress or something, and then she got embarrassed because of some fact that came out, and then she had to drop out of the race?
I think she was considering running for the Senate, if I'm not mistaken, in Kentucky, and that would have went over like a fart in church, because she is an absolute nutbag.
Think looking at Ashley Judd and thinking about that Senate run, I'm thinking about the song that her mom and sister, the Judds, sang called "Why Not Me?" Why not you, Ashley Judd? Because you're a lunatic.
You're a kook. You're a leftist kook. Someone has actually removed your brain and replaced it with dirt. So if you want to check out that insane rant of hers, she actually complained to the management. He called me sweetheart. Oh my God!
Meanwhile, Ashley Judd, have you stood up for the young boys who've been victims of pedophilia in Hollywood with these Hollywood producers? I mean, that to me, that seems far worse than somebody calling you sweetheart. No, you haven't. Why not? Because you're an opportunist and you're trying to make another name for yourself because your washed-up career is almost over.
Yeah. Simply unreal. So you can get that at thepolitistic.com. If you want to watch that insanity, I wouldn't watch it this close to bedtime because you're liable to have some pretty serious
nightmares.
Some nightmares. I tell you, I put that thing up on YouTube. You should see the comments. They're funnier than heck. Okay, let's moving along to politics here. So this is a little disappointing. I would call it strange. Maybe not so much. But President Trump today endorsed establishment Mitch McConnell stooge,
Obama's Mitch,
Luther Strange, over two really solid conservatives in the Alabama Senate race. Congressman Mo Brooks, who is a very solid conservative, constitutional conservative, and Judge Roy Moore, the Ten Commandments judge, who has been leading in that race in recent polls. Fox News wrote about this today. They called it surprising. I would call it disappointing. I wouldn't call it surprising.
right?
I'm not going to say it's strange. Actually, I would say it's strange, since the guy's name is Luther Strange. But he was the hand-picked McConnell stooge to take that position when Jeff Sessions became the Attorney General. But the love affair between Trump and McConnell, who, if there's not a more, who would be more establishment
Nobody.
on the Republican side than Mitch McConnell?
Yeah, how do you badmouth Lindsey Graham and John McCain and then sidle up to Mitch McConnell?
I don't get it. Does anybody get it? If you can explain this. But it's not new. Trump, who, here, just FYI, we're not anti-Trump, we're not never Trump. We're also not Trump worshipers. We worship Jesus Christ. And when President Trump is right and he's promoting, conservative principles that will make America great again, based on the principles our founding fathers put in place, we're 100% in his camp. And when he does something idiotic like this, we're not in his camp. Okay?
Not just idiotic, but
it's just wrong.
But wrong and just dangerous. You want to make America great again by basically putting the power of your name and your endorsement behind somebody who's the favored candidate of a person who has turned his back on, lied to, manipulated the system and the American people over and over and over again, who has given the Republican Party a bad name based upon his promises, which very quickly turned into lies. Is that what's going to make America great again?
I don't know. Does he think Mitch McConnell's his friend? Mitch McConnell
I
is
saw
not his
something
friend.
earlier today. Mitch McConnell was bad-mouthing him today.
Oh, yeah.
What's up?
That's how he got rewarded, is McConnell bashed him because he accused President Trump of having, I think it was excessive expectations, or the word was something along those lines. Basically, he was expecting too much from Congress to keep their 7-year-long promise to repeal Obamacare. Something they voted for over 50 freaking times when Obama was president.
Because
knowing good and well he would veto it. Total show vote nonsense. And President Trump, to his credit, tweeted against that assertion by McConnell today, and basically said, "No, I don't think so. I don't think I have unrealistic expectations of Congress. You made a 7-year promise. Now keep it." But nevertheless, the president is endorsing McConnell butt boy Luther Strange.
Luther, I am strange.
Luther the Strange over Judge Roy Moore, who, by the way, was endorsed by Judge Roy Moore, the Ten Commandments judge, was endorsed by Chuck Norris, who said, God, what a great endorsement. For a conservative to get endorsed by Chuck Norris. Tough, tested, and has a spine of steel. Judge Moore has never backed down from standing for what is right, and that's exactly what he'll do in the U.S. Senate, Norris said. That's why the Washington establishment is spending millions trying to defeat Judge Moore. So here's what's going on here. McConnell, through a PAC that he controls, is putting out slime hits against Judge Roy Moore and against Mo Brooks, who, by the way, has been endorsed by Mark Levin, conservative badass, Sean Hannity, Trump sycophant, and Laura Ingraham, Trump loyalist. So the most, Trump, Levin is pretty much like us. He's issue-based. So when he's right, he's right. When he's wrong, he's wrong. Hannity, Trump can do no wrong. He walks on water on a daily basis in his eyes. And while I agree with a lot of what Sean Hannity says, it's just gotten so propaganda-like, it's hard to listen to. Although I do force myself to from time to time. But how is this not a slap in the face to endorse McConnell's stooge when Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham, arguably two of your most loyal supporters who really played a key role in getting you elected with the conservative base, how is that not a slap in the face?
It is a slap in the face. You think Sean Hannity goes home at night, pours himself a glass of scotch and say, really, what kind of influence do I have? I thought I had the ear of Donald Trump. Did he know that Trump was about to endorse Strange? What does Mitch McConnell have on Trump that would cause Trump to even do that?
Jeez Louise. I have no idea. So, here's a tweet. Steve Deace, one of our favorites, Steve Deace show on CRTV. Trump just endorsed an establishment hack over two conservatives in the Alabama Senate race. Seriously, Trump cult, shove it up your urethras.
He didn't mince words, folks. He didn't mince words.
Now that's a little strong, but I think here is the anger that he's getting at. Trump was supposed to be anti-establishment, but yet his love affair with McConnell shows he's in bed with the establishment. And it's really a bad marriage. If he wants to truly be, a man of the people, he needs to cut ties with that, establishment rhino, Republican in name only, Mitch McConnell, Obama's Mitch. So hopefully there's a good outcome. That Alabama election is August 15th. It's less than a week away. It's probably going to result in a runoff with neither of the three Republican candidates garnering over 50% of the vote. It'll be really interesting. It's pretty close because latest poll shows Judge Roy Moore with an 8-point lead over Strange, 38 to 22%, and Mo Brooks, who's also a good candidate, is in third with 19%. He's close to Strange. Now, it's going to be really interesting because if Strange comes in second, and assuming nobody gets over 50%, you're going to have a hardcore conservative, a really solid, rock-ribbed conservative versus Luther Strange.
I don't even know what Luther Strange stands for other than he was handpicked. One would think that Trump would go for the judge because, he's the one that's promised, we said we worship God in America.
All this stuff, yeah.
We worship God, all these things.
Well, McConnell doesn't worship God. He actually worships big government.
Right. So it's an interesting pick because it just goes against so much of what he said. One would think he would throw his weight behind the judge.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense whatsoever. I was going to say something else about this. What was it? What was it? So a runoff. It's going to be really interesting to see what would happen if it's between, somebody like Strange and either Mo Brooks or Judge Roy Moore. McConnell has said his front group is willing to put $8 million into that race. $8 million. to try to get an establishment stooge in there, somebody that can be his
big government
puppet.
party number 1 and big government party number 2.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And what he's going to spend that $8 million on are smear tactics, like he did in the Mississippi race between barely incoherent rhino Thad Cochran. How old is he? 84 or something. Good God, the guy's a bumbling idiot. And they had a Tea Party candidate, Chris McDaniels.
It was great.
Like conservative badass. So hopefully one of these top conservatives will be number 1. And hopefully one of them number 2. I mean, it's too bad one of them has to lose. It's too bad there's 2 of them in the race, but nevertheless they are. That is a very interesting race. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a very interesting race. I can't wait to see what happens with it. I mean, I thought it was interesting when Roy Moore got into the race, because Mo Brooks was in first, right?
That I don't recall.
I don't remember, but with those 2 candidates in there, for Trump to throw his weight behind Strange is, pun intended, strange. So let's see what happens. Let's send Mitch McConnell another defeat and let his boy lose.
That would be wonderful. That would just be so wonderful. We would like to thank you all for turning into episode 5 of the Burke Brigade, brought to you by the Liberty Daily, your Drudge alternative. We will continue to improve these amazing podcasts we're doing. Just starting out here, and we appreciate your support.
Please, if you like what we have to say, we encourage you, please share it.
Share it on Facebook. Share it on Twitter. The Burke Brigade. # Burke Brigade. God bless everybody. Have a wonderful evening. God bless America.
God bless America. Have a great week.